Folks, welcome to an all new episode of So Bad It's Good with Ryan Bailey. This is your pal Ryan, and this is your Thursday episode. You guys, it might sound a little echoey because my current office is in a bathroom at the hotel we're staying at in Charleston. We just landed in Charleston a couple of hours ago, and I'm here working in a bathroom with you guys. But we have a great episode for you today because we have a legend of comedy. To me, Natasha Leggero is here today, and she's here to promote the Amazon Prime show with Travis Kelce, the game show, Are You Smarter Than a Celebrity? And it turns out I'm not smarter than a celebrity, or I'm just not smart. I watched a bunch of episodes, which I've loved. And it turns out I'm an idiot, but you guys already knew that. She also has this amazing podcast called The Endless Honeymoon that she does with her husband, comedian Moshe Kasher. And she's just fantastic. I mean, her roast, her stand-up, she's amazing. So this was my first time talking with her, and I was really excited. She also has a great book she released like a year ago that I loved as well, and I highly recommend. So we kind of talk about a lot of different things: pop culture, game show, her career, her podcast. So it kind of goes in every which direction. But we'll do a couple of news stories before then because a lot of stuff has happened today. Well, I mean, not a lot of stuff, but enough that we can talk about it, as a family. I hope you guys are having a good Thursday. You are almost to the end of the week, so congratulations on that. That's no small feat. Not in 2024. That's a big thing. You made it through another week. Let's see here. Let's start with Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. I just watched tonight's episode, and it is once again proving it is a bonkers season. It is bonkers, and Mary Cosby once again has remained my favorite character this season. How is that happening? And then you add Brittany Bateman, one of the new housewives, who was dating the Jared Osmond guy. They're not dating anymore, and she has a new guy in there. But then at the end, at Angie Katzenava's 25th anniversary Mob Wives party, yeah, you heard that correctly, 25th anniversary Mob Wives party, she brings a new guy, but then Jared comes, and then it's like this. We'll have to go into it much deeper at the recap. I also want to let people know to watch Real Housewives of Orange County tonight. I watched this week's episode, and Tamra is not having a good season, and they found a new way to really humiliate Shannon Beador once again. Not Tamra, just the show itself. Shannon has a humiliating storyline for part of this episode, which you just have to laugh. You're like, man, this Shannon Beador, how does she walk amongst us? Also, Gina is proving to be one of my favorite characters this season. So anyways, Salt Lake, OC, great. RHONY, I watched RHONY. Now, RHONY, on the other hand, there's a lot of work to do there. I'm glad that everybody's still getting to know each other. They're kind of seeming to enjoy each other's company to a degree. Brynn is really coming at Uba, and I'm trying to understand that. Brynn also, she cried 2 times this episode, but at the same time, Brynn is so harsh, especially when it comes to Uba. I also wasn't a huge fan of Brynn telling Rebecca Minkoff what to say. Like, oh, if Uba says this, you should say that she sold sweatshirts at BravoCon. Like, let Rebecca Minkoff figure it out herself. And so far, I think Rebecca, I don't know if she's nervous. I don't know if that's just her normal personality, but she is so kind of soft-spoken in certain ways. And we find out little pieces of information about her, but I'm waiting to see where that kind of, does that lead anywhere? Where does this go? So RHONY, I like everybody involved. It's just not popping off the way that OC and Salt Lake City are popping off. And even Potomac. Potomac has way more action than RHONY. So, I'm excited to see where RHONY, where the plan is, where it's going, but I'm still a little confused. Are you guys feeling the same way? In non-Bravo related news, there was a show in 2022 on Apple TV that I loved called Severance. It's with Adam Scott. Ben Stiller directed a bunch of episodes and produces the show, but I thought it was great. It's him, John Turturro, Christopher Walken, Patricia Arquette, and I thought it was amazing, but it was all the way back in 2022. And I think some people watched it, but a lot of people still haven't. So I highly recommend going and watching the first season because we got a new trailer for the second season and a premiere date. It's going to be January 17th. It'll be Fridays on Apple TV. They'll air it for 2 months, one episode every Friday. The new trailer looks completely bizarre, batshit. It looks great, but I was really excited to see this because I thought it was a really phenomenal show that is so bizarre, and the mythology of because basically, well, I'm not going to get into the storyline. If you've seen it, you know, but it is so good. And I have a feeling, when you wait so long in between seasons, I mean, Real Housewives of Dubai is another example, even though Severance is a different sort of show. I think, people tend to forget, people haven't watched it. So I hope Apple TV pushes a refresher on Severance to get people to watch that first season because I'm so excited about the second season. So that's exciting TV news. Now let's take it back to Vanderpump Rules because I mentioned this on yesterday's podcast and it turned out it was true. Tom Sandoval dropped a special episode of his podcast, Everybody Loves Tom. And he talked a lot about Rachel. Or the artist formerly known as Raquel, in regards to the lawsuit and things of that nature. His girlfriend, Victoria Lee Robinson, was there with him as well. And he talked a lot. Now, some of the things that stood out to me, this is from a Reality Blurb article. He said, I don't know what her case is like, but it seems to be she's after money, dude. Her team came to my team and basically offered to drop all the charges against me if I were to blame the way the affair was found out on NBC Universal. So it was like NBC Universal's fault that my phone fell out of my pocket and put me up to it. It's all about fucking money, dude. He didn't say the dude. That's just me adding that in as artistic license. But that's wild information. So in this podcast, he was not even hinting, he was saying that her legal team said, if you will say NBC Universal is at fault in a way for your phone dropping out of your pocket. But remember, they weren't even filming for the show at that point. So NBC Universal, there's really no ties to how this affair was discovered or anything like that. Remember, it wasn't a part of the season. Tom Sandoval flat out lied in his talking heads, like just full on lied. So this is wild because if this is true, listen, I don't know the legal system. I mean, the Bravo docket should do an episode, or Emily D. Baker, but this is fascinating because remember, Rachel's lawyers are Bethany Frankel's Reality Reckoning lawyers. So to me, I take that to mean they are still trying to build that case against Andy Cohen and Bravo. So that would really help their case. And it would, they're willing to absolve Tom of any financial responsibility if he'll throw NBC Universal under the bus. Now, Tom saying that right there, that's huge. I mean, I don't know if we can trust him at all. But if that's the scenario, I mean, I would really hope that Rachel's lawyers will put out some sort of statement tomorrow about this because that is pretty damning. Like, is that how the legal system works, of like just kind of bartering backroom deals that are just complete made up bullshit lies? Now, I'm not a fan of Tom's anymore, and I'm not a fan of Rachel's, but my God, I mean, that's really shady that on Rachel's part. I thought that was horrible. He also is still very angry about the situation. He was talking about her going like, oh, she said I was manipulated. It's like, no, girl. Stella got her groove back, if ever. You strode into your self-confidence and pretty much did whatever. I mean, she at that point was trying to hook up with every guy on the show, dude. And then he said, with me, it was like, she even said in the last scene that we filmed together, I saw that you and Ariana were not in a strong relationship, so I went after you. That's what she said, that we were not happy in our relationship. She said that. You're the one that took your clothes off and jumped in the pool. I was going through a midlife crisis. I'm not saying that I don't take accountability, but you came onto me first. You pursued me. You did that, and now you want money, and now you claim to be the victim, the biggest victim in all this shit. And then he also went on to talk about his house up for sale. The house is going on the market. We're selling the house, getting it ready, and Victoria and I are moving in together. He also talked more about Rachel talking about him. He says it's really annoying and it's funny. Like, she came at Victoria saying she's dating Tom, so she must vibrate at a low level. Apparently, Raquel, because she went away to a mental health facility, she is now a doctor in psychology. She can diagnose people, call them whatever. It's been really frustrating to hear these things over and over, dude. Which I'm sure it really, I mean, honestly, that has to be completely annoying. And that was one of my complaints too, is I'm all for mental health, but it's hard to have a mental health podcast when you really, you don't have degrees in this, you've not studied this, you're going through the process yourself and still figuring it out for yourself. Anyways, he said, I'm sure people have told her, I'm sure the Meadows probably told her, that was the place she was in, you need to move on. And she's just not. She's talking about stuff, doesn't take any real accountability. She said that I isolated her. It's like, girl, you had your two best friends that knew about this affair when it was going on pretty much soon after it happened. I was very much at her will in a sense, because I put myself in this situation. I take accountability, but there were two guilty people doing that. We were both at fault for doing that, and we both kept it going. We both continued to make those bad choices. So that was from Tom Sandoval's podcast. You can listen to the whole thing. Everybody loves Tom if you want to. But it's very interesting, just even with that Lala situation yesterday at Jeff Lewis that I talked about on Wednesday's episode, it really is wild of the ripples this caused. And even all of this time later, I just sense from everybody the same anger, like not just across the board at all of these different things. So it's really interesting to see how time has passed, but the same feelings are completely there, and they seem to be a lot of feelings of anger and hurt still. So that's going on over there. Oh, this is good news. Married to Medicine on Bravo. We finally got our season 11 trailer. And it is coming back for season 11. It is premiering on Sunday, November 24th, just in time for Thanksgiving. And each episode will stream the next day on Peacock. And these will be the cast members. We got Dr. Jacqueline Waters, Dr. Simone Whitmore, Dr. Heavenly, Toya Bush Harris, Quad Webb. Quad. Phaedra Parks, Letitia Sweet Tea Lunsford, and then Dr. Contessa Metcalf will be back. She's going to be back as a friend, and new pal, Dr. Mimi Sanders, who is an accomplished psychiatrist specializing in women's mental health. We need to get Dr. Mimi hooked up with Rachel potentially for a special episode. The Married to Medicine ladies are, quote, at a friendship crossroads, with some of the women ready to renew bonds while others are collecting apologies, it says in the press release. Dr. Jackie is still doing her best work while keeping the tranquility among the women, as Dr. Simone is trying to move forward selectively in friendships. Cecil is making it his mission to help her get on track with everyone, including Quad. Dr. Heavenly is doing some self-reflection, and while trying to right her wrongs, some things will be easier said than done. Toya is making sure everyone in the group stays accountable. Quad is ready and willing with open arms to give dating another whirl, while also making a fresh start with the women, because if you remember last season, Quad was in the shit house with a lot of those women. So it'll be interesting to see if she can repair, but something tells me she can. It's reality TV. Now, Phaedra is trying to help repair any friendships in need of healing. Letitia has baby fever and is working full-time with Dr. Jeet to expand their family. Dr. Contessa is back in the mix with new alliances. Although new, Dr. Mimi will make sure her opinion is heard when getting to know this group. With so much new energy, the press release concludes, with these ladies, will these ladies be able to get back to the core of friendship? My God, I hope so. My God, we need them to get back to the core of their friendships. Please, please. Also, we had our wedding finale episode of Love is Blind season 7. I won't talk about that yet because I don't want to spoil it for anybody, but it's, these seasons on Love is Blind just kind of come and go. And, what did you guys think of this season? We'll have the reunion, I believe, this weekend. So it'll be interesting to see what comes out of that as well. Okay, a couple of other things. And this one is not Bravo related. We can do it all here. This was a crazy story that I was reading about, and I think if it is true, obviously we will be hearing more and more. So this is a headline. It says Jamie Foxx, the actor, allegedly claims Diddy drugged him, which led to his stroke. If you guys, are living under a rock, Jamie Foxx had a horrific stroke, and really people did not think he was going to make it. He was filming a movie, he got really sick, and then he was in the hospital, and it was like a shroud of mystery. People were saying pray for him, people were putting out press releases saying that he already had passed away, but he is back stronger than ever, and he has a new Netflix comedy special that's coming out called What Had Really Happened Was. And the actor makes a startling claim that Sean Diddy Combs was behind the stroke he suffered a year ago. He is filming this special across various Los Angeles venues, and I guess he goes into the details about what transpired before, during, and after this health scare. And in a particularly shocking moment, Jamie Foxx reportedly tells the audience, Diddy was responsible for my stroke. Now, according to the report, Fox alleges that he was drugged by the former Bad Boy music mogul. While this may sound like part of the comedy, Fox's delivery quickly changed the room's energy. Initially, when he made the comment, fans began to laugh, assuming it was just another joke. However, Fox paused and gave a serious look to one fan in particular, making it clear that he was not kidding. That is wild. That is wild. Now there's others. There's a bodyguard that is saying this is true, and that's going to make the case obviously messier. It's a former celebrity bodyguard, Big Homie CC. Big Homie CC. That's a great name for a bodyguard. But he dropped these bombshell allegations saying that Sean Diddy Combs was involved in poisoning Jamie Foxx as well. Could you imagine if that really is the case? And they're also saying that Jamie Foxx allegedly was one of the people to be an informant for the FBI against Diddy. Now, this is all completely conspiratorial except for the information about his comedy special and what he says. So I'm very curious. I'm very, very curious because that is horrifying. Can you imagine that? If Sean Diddy Combs did that to Jamie Foxx or was responsible for that in any way, that is so that's frightening as all hell. Okay, and then finally tonight, this is another reality show story, but not Bravo related, and it involves Todd Chrisley, who is serving jail time, as a lot of reality stars do now. And this is from a people.com article. And the headline reads, Todd Chrisley no longer working at prison chapel, his attorney says. So he is currently serving time for 12 counts of tax evasion, fraud, and conspiracy. And he was an assistant to a chaplain in the prison. And it turns out this month he was removed from his job. His attorney tells people that he was removed from his position due to associating with inmates, is the quote, who are part of the prison's residential drug abuse program. The lawyer says that Todd also lost access to a small office in the chapel where he did his volunteer work and is, quote, very disappointed and upset that he can no longer participate in the administration of the setup for religious services at Pensacola, which includes Christian, Jewish, and Muslim services. He tells people that Todd feels he was removed from his duties without cause, but it has not affected his firm belief that in the end, God will work things out for him, Julie, and his family. And then the quote from the Federal Bureau of Prisons says, for privacy reasons, we do not comment on the conditions of confinement for any incarcerated individual, including their work detail assignments. I wish the prison would have just been like, he's too chatty. This guy is chatting it up way too much, man. This is prison. This guy's having a blast in there. But I thought this was so wild. Like, sad, but wild. He got removed from an assistant of the chaplain for associating with the inmates too much. Like, what does that even mean? These reality stars, folks, what are we going to even do with them? Okay, that's it, folks. Just a quick pop culture roundup. One more thing. I said this on Wednesday's podcast about Rachel Goes Rogue, Raquel Levis's podcast, how she left the show. And then I told you how the artwork changed and it's now called Going Rogue. And I was like, who is going to host this? is this going to be like Joe from Vanderpump? Who is hosting this? And it turns out we have an answer to this now. It is going to be Rachel Leviss's publicist. Rachel Leviss's publicist will now be hosting Going Rogue. And I thought that's very wild. So that's going to be, it's going to be hosted by Rachel's publicist, who was on a bunch of Rachel's episodes. She even did one by herself. But I think that's wild for her publicist to take over the podcast. Now, in my thinking, I was like, why did this keep going at all? Like, did the publicist just really find out she loves podcasting? Now, one of my theories is, remember, this they have their deal through iHeart. And Bethany Frankel was, the one that got them that deal with iHeart. My theory on this is because when you're with a company or any podcast or any job, really, you have quarter one, quarter two, quarter three, and quarter four. So Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4, and they sell advertising ahead of time for those quarters. So they'll be working on advertising for like the next quarter or the next two quarters. My theory is that they had already pre-sold advertising for quarter four, so they needed to keep the podcast going. I could be completely wrong, but my limited knowledge from what even I do, that was my first thought. Because if you've already sold that advertising, you need to make good for what you sold and what you took money for. So that was the big overall thought I had. Let me know if you have any thoughts on that, but that's what I think it is. And that is it, folks. Are you ready? Are you ready for Natasha Leggero? We did this at 9:30 on Monday. And I don't know. I was geeking out. I was in heaven. You can tell I'm a little nervous. And also there's a little bit of audio mishaps because I tried to clean up the audio a little bit. There's some crackling, not on my mic, but I think it's just Wi-Fi in Los Angeles. It's just Wi-Fi in Los Angeles. Anyways, you need to go check Are You Smarter Than a Celebrity? New episodes drop on Wednesdays, hosted by Travis Kelce. Lala Kent is one of the celebrities, Natasha Leggero, Nikki Glazer, Chad Ochocinco, the athlete. It has like a lot of fun celebrities. And then they have two contestants they have a bunch of contestants that compete for money by answering questions that are like first grade math, second grade art. And then, I can't get most of these questions. And then they'll have the celebrities help them with answering these questions. It's a really fun game show. And I think it works. You could watch this with your kids. You can watch this by yourself. I think it works for all ages, all sizes, all that. But also, what I really love you to check out is her podcast, The Endless Honeymoon, with her husband, Moshe Kasher. They just moved over to Dear Media, and I think they're fabulous. They've been doing this for a long time. So anyways, here is me being happy, being able to talk to Natasha Leggero. Here we go. Have a great Thursday, guys.